Today, with the release of yet another season, Chapter 3, Season 4, we've gotten yet another fishing dex. Now, the old fishing dex has been reset, and we've gotten 23 new fish to catch this season. So in today's video, I'll be breaking down how to easily catch every single one of these fish, as I do every single season. So let's dive right into the video. Now, to start it off, we're going to start it off with our standard classic intro by telling you what game mode to fish in. Now, unfortunately, ever since, I believe, Chapter 2, Season 7, Fortnite has removed the ability to fish in battle laps. Now, this is due to the fact that all the way back in Chapter 2, Season 8, I said 7, I meant 8, the tuna fish skin got added to the game. And basically, since it actually gave you rewards for filling out your fishing decks, they stopped you from being able to do it in a peaceful mode like Battle Lab, only allowing you to do it in the standard game modes of solos, duos, and squads. Now, unfortunately, they have never reverted that, and you still need to do it in solos, duos, and squads. You cannot fish in battle labs anymore, which is very unfortunate, but it does mean that it's going to be a little bit more grindy. Thankfully, I do have some really useful tips for you guys on how to easily complete this fishing decks for every single one of these fish. Now, as always, if you're looking for a specific fish, you can go ahead and jump to its timestamp. There will be timestamps in the description and in a pinned comment, so you can go ahead and skip to any of those fish. But if you want the full experience of how to catch every single fish, then make sure to stick around for the full video, because I will be giving you guys a lot of really useful tips and tricks throughout the video as we go the whole way through. So let's keep on going and get on to the next point of establishing where we can fish. Now, there's a lot of different spots on this map. As you can see, there's a lot of different biomes, but there's some best biomes to use for specific fish. And of course, most fish have a specific biome to fish in, but I'm going to give you guys a bit of a preface for what are the best areas for each biome. So in total in Fortnite, there are 5 different biomes that you can fish in. Now, purely for saving as much of your guys' time as possible, I have spent a ton of time developing a nice graphic showing you guys exactly where to go for every single region. Now, of course, there are other spots to fish for each of these regions. For example, let's just say the coastal area. You can basically do that at any ocean spot around the map, or really anywhere on the edge of the map, but this is the best spot that I have found throughout all my years of fishing. These have proven to be the best spots to go to when you're looking for fish of this type. So let's just say forest fish, you're going to want to fish along the river that I marked for that. If you're looking for a swamp fish, go to the center at Loot Lake. If you're looking for the mountainous fish, go to that nice custom Fisher's Island in the top left corner of the map. Absolutely one of my favorite spots on the map. If you're looking for a desert one, go on down to that waterway. There are fishing rod spawns right over there. And then that actually covers all of them. So those are all 5 of the regions in a nice graphic. And on top of that, we need to cover pro fishing rods, because pro fishing rods are a requirement for many of these fish. So not only did I make that first graphic, but I doubled down on it, and I made a guide on how to easily get pro fishing rods for every single one of these regions. Now, just a quick little summary of what this is actually showing you. If you see one of those fishing barrels, that is where you can get a fishing rod and either get really lucky and pull a pro fishing rod out of it, or it gives you directions to the nearest upgrade station, which will then allow you to upgrade that fishing rod into a pro fishing rod for 250 gold. Now, unfortunately, there used to be an NPC that sold pro fishing rods for 25 gold, but for some reason, Epic removed that this season. I'm really sad about that. So we're back to the 250 gold price of the pro fishing rods. You are going to need to travel to these locations, but you know the most efficient spots to go to for every single one of the biomes. I'll throw this back up on screen whenever we're talking about region-specific fish, just in case people are skipping over this section. But if you didn't skip over this section, make sure to comment gummy bears on top down below, or gummy bears just with a crown or something. I don't know. I'll respond to anyone who puts that down below. It's been a tradition that me and my subscribers have had for the past few seasons, so consider doing it, because it's just a fun thing we like to do on these fishing decks guides. But with that out of the way, we have saved a ton of time, and we can dive right in to how to catch every single fish. Now for fish number 1, fish number 2, and fish number 3, the orange flopper, green, and blue floppers, all respectively, you can catch all of these guys anywhere. They are the staple fish of Fortnite, and they can be caught literally anywhere with a fishing hole, with any type of fishing rod, whether it be a standard one or a harpoon gun. You'll be able to catch these floppers anywhere along the map. For fish number 4, we have the black and blue shieldfish. This guy can yet again be caught anywhere, just like the floppers, so just go ahead and take yourself a standard fishing rod, or a pro fishing rod, or a harpoon harpoon gun, go ahead and fish in some fishing holes, and you'll eventually catch yourself the black and blue shield fish. For our 5th fish, this is where we start to get into our area-specific ones, and this guy is the black striped shield fish, which can only be caught in coastal areas. Now, if you skipped over the part of the video where I explained to you guys the best spot to go for coastal areas, have no fear because it is up on screen right now. So this is the best spot to go to for coastal area fish. So with that out of the way, you're going to want to go there for your 5th fish, the black striped shield fish. Again, you can do this with any type of fishing rod. Now for the 6th fish, we need to catch the green shield fish, except this guy can only be caught in forest areas. Now this is a very difficult one because forest areas are so limited across the map. But as I showed you guys earlier, this little area is the perfect spot to go for forest fish. It's going to be a great spot to go to because you can pick up a fishing rod from this area over here, then run on down this river, go all the way up to Sleepy Sound, and all those fishing holes along there count as forest area fish, allowing you to eventually catch yourself fish number 6, the green shield fish. For the 7th fish, we have the pink shield fish, and this is the first guy that requires a pro fishing rod. Now, he can only be caught in the desert area, so like I mentioned earlier, what you're going to want to do is go ahead and hop on down to this area at the bottom of the map, specifically this little hut down here. Then what you're going to want to do is go ahead and run over here to this gas station. You can pause the video if you don't know exactly where that is, and then what you're going to want to do is run along this river, use these fishing holes to try and catch this fish as quickly as possible, and eventually, when you're fishing in those desert area fishing holes with the pro fishing rod, you'll eventually catch yourself the pink shield fish. For our 8th fish on this list, we have the light blue shield fish, and this guy can yet again, just like our 4th fish in the fishing decks, be caught literally anywhere. So thankfully, we're back to using a normal fishing rod. You can go to literally any fishing hole around the map, and you'll eventually catch yourself the light blue shield fish. For fish number 9, we have the blue slurpfish, and this guy can yet again be caught anywhere around the map. He's the staple slurpfish that can be caught literally out of any fishing hole, so go ahead and hop over to any fishing hole with any type of fishing rod, and you'll eventually catch yourself fish number 9. For fish number 10, we have the yellow slurpfish, and this guy can only be caught in desert areas. So like I was talking about earlier, to drop on down to your desert area and get the best spot to go to, you're going to want to go to this hut exactly. Again, you can pause the video if you don't know exactly where that is, and then go ahead and fish along this river until you manage to catch yourself fish number 10, the yellow slurpfish. Now for fish number 11, we're going to want to go to mountainous areas. This is the purple slurpfish, and this guy is fairly easy to catch once you get rolling, because we have an amazing mountainous area on this map. You guys can see right here, this little tiny island is the best fishing spot in the game, and thankfully, it just so happens to be a mountainous fishing area. Now, thankfully, this fish does not require a pro fishing rod, so you can just drop on down here and start fishing away with a standard one at all of those fishing holes, and you'll eventually catch yourself the 11th fish, the purple slurpfish. Now, for our 12th fish, this is where we start to get into the difficult fish, and we have the black slurpfish. Now, this is the first guy that requires a day versus night timing. So one major tip here is you're going to need to look at where the sun is in the sky. When you go ahead and load into a match, look up at the sky. If the sun is in the west of the sky, then you know that you have loaded into the match at a perfect time. Since the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, it will be nighttime very soon. So stay in that match and go ahead and drop on down to the coastal area that I always recommend for you guys, because that spot will have an amazing success rate for catching the black slurpfish. Now, if it's already nighttime, again, do the exact same thing. Drop on down there. But if the sun is in the east of the sky, make sure you check right as you're jumping out of the battle bus, load back out of that game, and go into a new one. Since the day-night cycle takes a very long time, I believe it's around 15 minutes, you're not going to have enough time to just sit over there because you'll eventually die to storm before you manage to catch yourself the black slurpfish. At that point, it is more efficient to just leave the game, go back into a new one, and catch yourself the black slurpfish over at a coastal area at nighttime. Now, for our 13th fish, we have the white slurpfish, and this is by far the hardest fish in this fishing decks. For those who do not know, the white slurpfish has the most combinations of things that you need to do in the entire fishing deck. So basically what you're going to want to do is go to a mountainous area. So that's literally only step number 1. Now for this, you're going to need to go to this island over here, which is a great spot, but we're not going to start off there. This is major. While this is the best best mountainous fishing spot, you're going to want to start off right over here. And that's due to the fact that we need to use a pro fishing rod. Now, in order to get a pro fishing rod, you can either try and get super lucky, keep going into a match and going back out of a match, but that's not going to work with this fish because it also needs to be nighttime. So what you're going to need to do is time it correctly with the sun. Like I said for the prior fish, the Black Slurpfish, look up in the sky as you're on the battle bus. If it's nighttime, go ahead and go into that match. Start trying to fish for the fish. If it's daytime, make sure that the sun is close to the west side of the island because the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. You know that it will be nighttime very, very soon, so it will be worth it to stay in that match and try and catch the fish. But if it's in the east of the sky, then load back out of that match and go back into a new one because it will not be nighttime by the time that you need to catch this fish. Now, to get the pro fishing rod, like I was mentioning earlier, start on off down here at this location. Go ahead and grab one of these fishing rods from the many spawns down here. Run over here to this gas station. Go ahead and upgrade it to a pro fishing rod for 250 gold, and then run back on down here to all of the fishing spawns over here. Make sure that it is nighttime, and you will eventually catch yourself the White Slurpfish. This is, like I said, by far the hardest one, and you need some really, really good timing. I have only caught one out of all the 500 fish I have caught, so it's definitely going to take you some time, but I believe in you guys. You'll eventually be able to catch yourself fish number 13, the White Slurpfish. Now, for fish number 14, 15, and 16, these guys can all be caught anywhere, but there is a specialty about them. For those who do not know, small fries can only be caught outside of fishing holes. So while you're going to want to only fish inside of fishing holes for every other one of these fish, for these guys, just make sure that you're fishing in open water. Make sure it's not a fishing hole. So you cannot do this with a harpoon gun because harpoon guns can only fish out of fishing holes. You are going to need to do this with either a standard or a pro fishing rod. Fish outside of a fishing hole, and you'll eventually catch yourself fish number 14, 15, and 16, the light blue, tan, and purple top small fries, respectively. Now, for our 17th fish, we have the black small fry, and this guy can only be caught at nighttime. Now, like I mentioned earlier in the video, for nighttime, what you're going to want to do is when you drop on down to the map, go ahead and look above you. If you see the sun in the sky and it is towards the west side of the map, that means you should stay in that match because the sun sets in the west and rises in the east. It will be nighttime soon. But if the sun is in the east side of the sky, then go ahead and leave that match and go into a new one because it's not going to be nighttime by the time you want it to be in that match. Now, of course, if it's already nighttime, just go ahead and stay in that match and fish to your heart's desire because you will hopefully be able to catch fish number 17 in that very match. For fish number 18, this is the blue small fry, and this guy literally just requires you to be in a coastal area. So like I've recommended for a lot of these other ones, go ahead and drop on down to this area, grab some fishing rods from this little spawn location over here, and then just go ahead and start fishing in this area outside of the fishing holes. Make sure that you're not fishing inside of them. Fish in the open water, and you'll eventually catch yourself fish number 18, the blue small fry. Now, for fish number 19, we have the Slurp Jellyfish, and this guy is back to being caught literally anywhere. So you can go to any of the fishing holes around the map, and you'll eventually catch yourself fish number 19, the Slurp Jellyfish. Now, for our 20th fish, we have the Peely Jellyfish, and just like I have told you guys for the past few seasons, this guy is still mislabeled in the fishing decks. I don't know how Epic hasn't caught on to this yet. Obviously, they're not watching my fishing guides because fish number 20 can only be caught in mountainous areas. This is not a desert region fish. If you're having difficulties finding this fish and you're thinking that it's in the desert, it's not. It's in the mountain area, but you are going to need a pro fishing rod. So what I would recommend is dropping on down here to this little spot, running over to the gas station, and then going back on down to all of the fishing holes over here, going ahead and fishing up. And with that pro fishing rod, as long as you're fishing in this area, you'll eventually catch yourself fish number 20, the Peely Jellyfish. For fish number 21, we have the Purple Jellyfish, and this guy can only be caught in coastal areas. Again, like I've said for all the other coastal fish, all you're going to need to do is go ahead and drop on down to this location, go ahead and grab yourself any type of fishing rod, whether it be a standard, pro, or harpoon gun, then start fishing in the fishing holes, and you'll eventually catch yourself fish number 21, the Purple Jellyfish. For our penultimate fish, the second to last fish, fish number 22, the Dark Vanguard Jellyfish, all you need to do is find this guy at night. But I feel like I have said this literally every single season. I feel like that's not true. I still feel like you can only catch this guy at night in a swamp area. Now, I can confirm that you do not need a pro fishing rod because I did catch the one that I have caught without a pro fishing rod, but I did it in the center of the map at this swamp area. So if you're having difficulties catching the dark Vanguard jellyfish, I would recommend hopping on down to Loot Lake, grabbing literally any of the fishing rods over here, and then just start fishing around in that area. Since it is a swamp location, hopefully you'll be able to catch this fish very quickly. For me, it did take a while because you do need to do it at nighttime. So if you haven't seen the other parts of the video on where I tell you guys how to fish at night, basically what you're going to want to do is when you're loading in on the battle bus, go ahead and look up at the sky. If it's nighttime, bam, you're good. Go ahead and start fishing. If it's daytime though, check and see where the sun is. If it's in the west, go ahead and start fishing, because since the sun sets in the west and rises in the east, the sun will be setting very soon, meaning that it is almost nighttime and you are almost ready to start catching those fish. If it's in the east though, it's not worth staying in that game. Go ahead and leave it and go into a new one and try and find a match where that sun is in the west, so you will have a better chance of fishing at nighttime to catch yourself fish number 22, the dark Vanguard jellyfish. For our final fish in the fishing decks, fish number 23, we have the Cuddle Jellyfish, and this guy can only be caught in swamp areas, which is extremely surprising because the swamp area that I'm super surprised about is Loot Lake. I've said this so much throughout every single season we've had in Chapter 3, but apparently Loot Lake is a swamp area. Do not ask me why Epic made that a thing, but yeah, if you hop on down here to Loot Lake, this is by far the easiest spot to go and fish for swamp area fish because there's just so many fishing holes over here at Loot Lake, and as long as you have literally any type of fishing rod, whether it be a standard pro or harpoon gun, you'll eventually catch yourself fish number 23, your final fish, the Cuddle Jellyfish. But overall, that is how to easily catch every single fish in Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 4. Some of you guys may not know this, but this is the 1 chapter anniversary of me making fishing decks guides. I started all the way back in Chapter 2 Season 4, and now we're here in Chapter 3 Season 4 with a much better, higher quality version of this guide. But I'm so thankful that you guys have been with me throughout the entire journey, helping me progress and make these guides better and better every single season. And now we're here at the 1 chapter landmark, but don't worry, these things aren't going away anytime soon. You'll keep learning how to catch all these fish, and I'll keep teaching you guys how to catch them in future seasons. But for now, that is the Chapter 3 Season 4 Fishing Decks guide. If you guys did enjoy this video or find it helpful, then please consider leaving a like on it and subscribing to the channel, as that would help me out a ton. I hope you guys all have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.